Entrepreneurial Edge is brought to you by Business Banking from FNB, because small ideas can lead to big business. FNB, how can we help you?
Hello and welcome to the Entrepreneurial Edge. I'm Chris Bishop. Now this week we'll look at how to make it in the business of making where you work or book in for the night look beautiful. We will also be talking to the founder of a company called Source Interior Brand Architects. Now this is a company which works on the interior design of hotels and offices and retail across Africa. You name it, Sierra Leone, Mali, Nigeria, Angola, Kenya and Zimbabwe. Now welcome please, we've got here in the studio, we've got Andrew Merrington, co-founder, and also in our Cape Town bureau, we have Jeremy Stewart, also co-founder. Now starting with you in the studio here, Andrew. Now this company of yours, it sort of sprang from a bit of adversity, you were telling me.
Yes, I think it was where business was going. Jeremy being a partner in it, and I think with anything there's relationships that you have, and there was this opportunity. Yeah, so from adversity we are put in a situation, but we had a joint venture company at the time doing a hotel. So on the one hand, we weren't sort of out there being destitute. We had a project, and I think it was from that joint venture project, you know, that Source Interior Brand Architects was born. Yeah, and obviously having an hotel, you are getting a form of income, so it wasn't that hard knock of having to go around knocking on doors for business straight away. So one had one reputation, so at least one had a starting block.
Let's go to your co-founder now, Jeremy Stewart in Cape Town. Jeremy, just think back to those early days. Can you tell us how humble were those humble beginnings?
I think we were too busy to feel much. It was a very exciting time. We, as Andrew had said, we were essentially running two companies at the same time. It was a joint venture company called ESDH with our now also one of our other current partners now, Von Smuts, and Andrew and myself. And we were, our first project essentially was the Arabella Sheraton, which was a 450 million investment in the Western Cape. So it was a huge project as a sort of starting project, but you know, our company essentially started hit the ground with up to 12 staff and projects, and at the same time I think we were, Andy, correct me if I'm wrong, we were running at the Dunhill brand, we were working for Woolworths, so it wasn't your conventional start, and we were working 16-hour days, flat out, 6 days a week, right from the beginning.
So Andrew,
and that's pretty much how we started, and we really haven't had an opportunity to take much of a breath since then.
So Andrew, coming back to you in the studio here, I mean, it sounds like you were fairly well heeled right from the beginning, unlike a lot of entrepreneurs on this show. But you still had to break into the market. How difficult was that to establish yourselves?
I think the important thing about any business is about relationships, and I think Jeremy, you know, in particular, had a lot of relationships out there, a name, and I think what's quite interesting is the personalities in the organisation. I was involved in corporate life when corporate life didn't suit me, and then Jeremy and I joined together. And being a creative, it's a little bit different sometimes. It's not always having that business brain, and I think that's where, from a relationship point of view, Jeremy and I complement each other very well. I mean, Jeremy being super creative in his being, but I think that's the important thing, is to be able to, you know, gel as a partnership and draw on each other's strengths. And I think that's where that journey began.
Okay, let's go to Jeremy again in Cape Town. Jeremy, it seems that you're the hard-headed business brain in this partnership here. When you first started this company, Source Interior Brand Architects, what was your strategy to sort of like wrap things up and get hold of the market?
Well, Chris, starting a company from Cape Town. Cape Town is a very small market within a small market, which is South Africa. So I think from the outset, both Andrew, myself, and Yvonne are all qualified interior designers, or in Yvonne's case, she's an architect, and we're passionate about design, and that's our core. But you know, design and business are obviously done from two different sides of the brain, so it was very important for us to have work that was both stimulating, exciting, rewarding, was about personal growth, as well as obviously the business side of it. And design is a very interesting business because of that. It's so diverse. So our strategy was not to do one particular type of work. We wanted to work in corporate, we wanted to work in hospitality, we wanted to work in retail. And the other aspect was that just going back right to the beginning, the name Source, Interior Brand Architect, stems the word source, or it's like a fountainhead. We see Africa as a fountainhead of inspiration and talent in Southern Africa. We were sort of tired of seeing everyone copy Europe, copy America, and we felt we had a role to play in the greater, obviously, design community to establish a modern design aesthetic that spoke about Africa. And that's really the founding of the business. And as Andrew will tell you, it's our sort of backbone of our organization is very much about a passion for design. I'm really a designer by sort of trade, but you know, just by default is the one I sort of leant more into the business side of things, and that sort of became 50% of my job. So really these days I really just operate as a creative director, working with creative teams, but also sharing the business responsibilities.
Okay, well, we'll talk a little bit more about your expansion into Africa later in the program. But Andrew, I've got to ask you this. You're the creative, the designer here. What are the trends, and what's the current fashion in Africa when it comes to hotels? That moment when you walk in.
I think we sit in a global market where through technology people are brought up to speed with trends through newspapers, you know, the internet, television, and I think it's very, there are trends that are set out there, but I think very much the way that we operate is looking at the locality and contemporizing it. So whether we're doing a hotel in Bamako in Mali, Nairobi in Kenya, we actually look at the location of the hotel and we build stories around that. So on the one hand, we're not necessarily following trends. We're very much a contemporary design company, so we're not the company that goes and puts masks on the wall, you know, traditional African type of design. So we bring a contemporary edge to it, and we like to find those nuances, you know. So I think, and one of my philosophies is about storytelling with design. I mean, parking on Catherine Street here in Johannesburg, the theme was developed around that kids game, pick up sticks. So it's got very much a child play, and I think that it's suitable for the environment and the location of that specific hotel. When I was in Bamako in Mali, one of the inspirations was I was actually traveling back after doing an investigation on the hotel, and there was a West African woman walking in front of me to the airplane, and she had this beautiful gold top on, gold earrings, a charcoal dress, and then henna tattoos on feet and hands. Now, I mean, it just was, wow, here we are, West Africa, what an inspiration. I'm not the kind of person that can go and say, oh, just hold on and let me take a photograph. I haven't got that kind of gumption, but I mean, that was the inspiration behind the room design. Okay, well, let's go back to your partner, co-founder, Jeremy Stewart in Cape Town. I mean, back in the day when you went into a hotel, it was bare concrete walls, there was a little desk, and if you're lucky, a lift somewhere. I'm honest, with 20 years in reporting in Africa, there's some hotels I wish I'd ran out of as soon as I saw them. What do you think that people want to see these days when they walk into a hotel? What sort of experience are you trying to give them?
Well, from our side, as Andrew said, we like to create an international level of design. That's quality, the quality of design, the quality of finishes, the base sort of experience is very much at an international level, but hotels are all about layers, and as Andrew said, there's a sort of a layer layers within that hotel that reflect the sort of cultural or geographic elements of the area. But hotels in Africa are a very interesting phenomena because they operate slightly differently to, say, hotels in a more sort of developed country. So, say for instance, if you're traveling to a hotel, you often stay there. You do your business. It's the best place for communications, conference, or whatever. So, a lot of business actually gets done in the hotels, even in the hotel lounges. So, how we design hotel lounges in, say, Freetown in Sierra Leone is very different to how we would do them here, say, in Cape Town or in Johannesburg. You know, the chairs are slightly different. They offer a sense of privacy. People can do, you know, multi-million-dollar deals in the lounge in Africa. You know, we've seen some crazy stuff happen in hotels. So it's very exciting and very interesting of what the function of a hotel in Africa. And as we've seen through, you know, networks like yourselves, even in the times of strife in Africa, where does everyone stay? You know, at the fall of Baghdad, everyone was in some five-star hotel, all the press, everything. Hotels have this amazing life and story within Africa through good and bad times. So it's a very interesting sort of area to work, and hotels themselves cover a vast spectrum of functions. You know, it's food and beverage, there's accommodation, there's business and conferencing. So it's complex and interesting at the same time.
Well, I've stayed in a few of those hotels in my career, I can tell you, and bad things are happening. But Andrew, I just must ask you this, though. Sometimes you're dealing with people who've got a lot of money to spend on interior designs of hotels. How difficult can they be to please sometimes? I mean, tell me as a creative. I can see you smiling. That's a good answer.
I think, yeah, interior designer, interior psychologist. I think it's, you know, being able to put stories together and it's coerce the client, and I mean, we're educators as well, and listen to the client, take them on a journey. Sometimes we start off with a great concept, and it might not be met with the greatest sort of reception from the client, but invariably we hold their hands, we take them through a process, and sometimes you might end up where you were at the beginning. You know, so it was that initial seed that was sown. And I believe very strongly in the first concept is generally the strongest one, because that's got the emotion, that's got the soul behind it. And so often, you know, designs can be watered down, but you can better it, you know, from a service point of view, you know, detailing and things. But from a cost point of view, yeah, it's expensive to put up hotels, but we pride ourselves in being able to deliver a good product on good budgets. You know, it's easy to go and throw money at something, but I think it's really how you use the budget.
Okay, gentlemen, Andrew Merrington, Jeremy Stewart in Cape Town, hold it there. The second half, we're going to be talking a lot more issues. We're going to be talking about money, we're going to be talking about recession and the wider factors affecting the industry. Hold that thought.